Whoopi, Sunny Hostin, Joy Behar, Sarah Haynes, and Jedediah Bila. Now, let's get things started.
You know whose White House has been plagued by multiple leaks, nationwide protests. But just this morning, he told Fox News he knows exactly who is behind all of this. Take a look.
No, I think that President Obama is behind it because his people are certainly behind it. And some of the leaks possibly come from that group. You know, some of the leaks, which are really very serious leaks because they're very bad in terms of national security.
Obama, damn it. Because I want to understand, you know, Obama's been chilling in the Caribbean with Richard Branson, taking his daughter to Broadway shows, and still somehow found time to lead an underground resistance. I mean, it's like, come on now, come on, dude.
Or I spoke to Obama this morning. He said, Donald who?
If there's ever been a time where President Obama does not give a about that office, it's right now. He needs to recoup. He needs time with his family. He doesn't give.
Yes. And he's hang glide.
Yeah.
He looks very happy. I don't blame him. Reported that the leaks and also the protests that you're seeing around the country in town halls is just grassroots, people just getting together, and a lot of those people that are attending the town halls are doing it for the first time.
I think
that
people
are using their voices.
It's happening in 60 countries. I don't think that everywhere can be organized. Come on.
I think he's conflating, though, President Obama, who's, in my opinion, not involved at all, and some of these organizations who once backed President Obama, like Organizing for Action, SEIU, MoveOn.org, Center for American Progress.
Americans who are
exactly.
exercising
But you can't, these are groups that are designed to, if they facilitate protests, because based on their values and what they believe, and that's what America stands for, you can't hold them accountable for that in a negative way, and you also can't blame the former president, who's now out of office and looks like he's clearly enjoying his life like I would be. But it also, for me, was a big deal, because this president, for some reason, seems to think it's okay to undermine the American process at many crossroads. And for me, when you say that you have a problem, if you're linking this to groups that may oppose you and you have a problem, that also links to your problem with protesters. That also links to your problem with dissent. That's a bigger issue for me, because I may not agree with any of these groups' agenda, but I will defend to the death their right to exist and their right to protest a president that they may not agree with. That's what being American is about. And if you don't support that...
Do you think the idea that he thinks people have to be hired and that he doesn't see the division he kind of left behind him, does he not see it?
I don't think he does see
it. He sees it when he wants to see it. We know, or we have been told, that, you know, you remember when he first announced he came down that escalator and there were all these people, well, supposedly extras were hired to fill out
I think
the
that
crowd.
was confirmed.
Okay.
It was confirmed.
You know, it may be confirmed. You know, they like to say, Whoopi is always saying stuff. I'm saying something, so I'm going to give you what you want. So I'm going to let them say, no, it's confirmed. Okay? But I'm saying, you know, I don't know, I wasn't there. I didn't hire them. But I'm just saying, if anybody knows about hiring people and how that works, it's Donald.
So I guess that would be what he projects.
So that's how he sees it. He figures everybody has to pretend that they are something they're not.
You know? I think he's also suggesting somehow that there are old Obama administration people that are working inside of the White House. But he's gotten rid of most of them. So, and in fact, I think they're, and correct me if I'm wrong, he got rid of a lot of the people, right? I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think that he still has something like 20,000 vacancies to appoint than to fill.
Clearly
So
people are hiding downstairs.
I don't know
Well,
what
we
he's
also
talking
was
about.
the intelligence
Aren't these
community.
leaks coming from people who feel scared?
Yeah.
That he has
Work for him?
that he has the nuclear codes. Everybody's petrified, so they're leaking information.
Listen, relax.
Like, how-
There's nothing
how-
in that.
2,000
There's nothing in that
vacancies.
suitcase.
2,000.
2,000 vacancies.
What'd you say?
I said there's nothing in the suitcase. They know who's holding it. They're not going to
You
get
don't think so?
They're like, take it out,
Maybe
take it
not.
out.
Well, we talked about the intelligence community and how he felt that maybe there were holdovers from the Obama administration that were in the intelligence community that were somehow
You
leaking.
mean like
And
the
I
guy
said,
from the FBI?
right. Now
That
I
he kept?
said, exactly. Now I said that would, for me, that would be a problem if you had people from a former administration, any administration, who may have motives to undermine the president
Which
as
leaks
their
are we
primary
talking
motive.
about, though,
I think
Jen?
they were talking about any leaks related to Russia or that, and anything that could potentially undermine the president that would disclose national security information. That could be a problem, but then say that specifically. Don't imply that President Obama, who's kayaking, is out there making phone calls.
I
while
wanna
he's on
know
the
which
kayak.
leaks,
That's
though.
about-
Which leaks?
He needs to feel victimized. He feels he's
has to
being
blame somebody. He
victimized,
must
and he
blame.
wants to blame
Yeah.
folks. Now,
He always blamed Hillary before, and
right,
he
and
jumped
you
to
can't do
Obama.
that anymore. So now you blaming Obama. You know, ain't nobody going for that, dude. You know, no, they're not. You know, come on. Now, even the former president, George W. Bush, is breaking his silence about the current administration, saying he doesn't like the racism and the name-calling that's going on, and that the media is indispensable for democracy. He took a whole bunch of hits. Nixon took hits. Nixon had such a humorous thing about himself that he went on laughing, which was an entertainment show back in the day. You know, Don, get a sense of humor, dude. If you're going to do this job, you better learn to laugh.
But you know, it's been. Actually, we started with George Bush, right?
Yeah.
The thing about this is that Donald has now done something I thought he would never do. I like him. I like the fact that George Bush. I like George Bush now, is what I'm trying to say here. I'm having trouble saying
You
it.
actually like W.
I mean, I was after this guy for 8 years. And now he has done something. He's made me like George Bush. I might even buy one of his paintings.
Well, remember,
I love George
paintings
Bush.
are
that he was the only Republican during his administration that stood up against him and said, we don't need a wall, we need a better program. And the Republicans gave him such hell about that he had to say, okay, fine, go build the wall. They never did, but, you know, I don't mind a president that you disagree with. That's what you're supposed to do. But one who starts, you know, who starts with name calling, who starts with aggressive behavior, who starts calling folks who are actually got our back, saying, you know, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. He has set up an aggression. Or maybe the other president has set up the aggression. Bannon.
For 8 years, George W. Bush said not one word about Obama. This guy's in there 40 days, and the previous president had to speak out. The question is, what other presidents are now going to get on board? That's my question.
There's a real coarsening, I think, about our culture because of this new presidency. But what I thought about this morning was you've got President Trump getting into office and instituting this travel ban against Muslim. Well, you have George W. Bush, you know, residing over 9/11. There were no travel bans against Muslims then, when you would think it might have made a little more sense. What they did was they had the federal government close the airports. And so what I think we're seeing in contrast is a President W. Bush, who really was a little more thoughtful.
Well, he was a little more. I mean, I always said he had more of a heart. There was, you know.
It's also interesting the Bush Center, even though President Bush hasn't been, you know, openly critical of the agenda, he doesn't like to do that in many ways. The Bush Center is holding immigration ceremonies, women's reproductive health programs in Africa.
Training Muslim women.
Yeah, he had given a quote out saying there's many ways to speak your mind, and one of them is through action. And I think what you're going to see is a lot of his action comes through the Bush Center. So even though he may not be vocally critical of the president,
letting you know.
he's going to let you know where he stands.
The equivalent to Bannon was Dick Cheney, in a way.
No, but
it's
Dick
different.
Cheney is nothing compared to what this president
Well, he was pretty bad.
is. He's
You
a
might
whole,
like him soon.
He's a whole other thing. This guy, this Bannon cat is a whole other kettle of stinky fish. You know, today is the last day in February, and we want you to take another look at the people and places we've honored on every show throughout Black History Month. I can't urge you enough to keep on celebrating all of the people you see and the millions of folks that you don't see who continue to make Black History Month every single day, because every struggle, every triumph, every achievement we continue to make is a vital part of American history. And as it turns out, we're all part of Black History Month. This is all our month. We'll be right back.
Still ahead, parents exposed? Why one mom says she wants her daughter and son to see her naked. This week on The View, you know we've got the hottest topics around. Crazy! That's right. And we can't wait to hang with Aubrey Plaza, Patrick Stewart, Jennifer Beals, and, wait for it, the one and only Jennifer Lopez comes to our house. Wow! That is so exciting. Yes! It's one red-hot week on The View on commentator Tara Setmeyer joins The Political View to talk about Trump's White House shutting the press out.
Hey, welcome back. You know there's a gentleman signing in the corner? That's kind of fabulous. Nice to see y'all. So, as I said earlier, the new guy promised he would repeal and replace Obamacare on day one. But he thinks, apparently, that he is the very first person, to realize how hard this is, and how tricky it is. I mean, just look at the clip.
I have to tell you, it's an unbelievably complex subject. Nobody knew that health care could be so complicated.
Some of us who were sitting on the Health Education Committee, who went to meeting after meeting after meeting, who heard from dozens of people who stayed up night after night trying to figure out this thing. Yeah, we got a clue.
This is how complicated it actually is. Ted Kennedy was trying to do this for years. Yeah. Years and years and years. So if you didn't know how complicated it was, perhaps it would have behooved you to sit down and talk to the people and say, so why is this so tough? Before you just said, we're getting rid of it, so you would know what you were trying to get rid of, because it's kind of dopey.
Well, how about looking at presidential history? I mean, if he were more of a scholar, he would realize that in presidential history, FDR was the first president that tried to do it.
And he brought it
he brought the fight to the people, and then he died before it was able to be passed, and then he left it to Truman. So presidents have been trying to get this done for over 100 years, and finally President Obama did it, and the first thing they want to do is say, we got to get rid of it.
Well, from the rollout on, there were glitches that people either love it or hate it, but why would he think with all of that complexity in reaction that it wasn't hard to do?
He's the only one with a brain, Sarah.
It's a real mystery. It's great. I think it's a, if you look at it, since 2017, 6.4 million Americans have chosen Obamacare since just 2017. And so I think that he should realize how important it is for Americans to have health insurance. And while there may be problems with Obamacare, if you repeal it, then you're leaving millions and millions and millions of Americans without it.
This whole secret is Medicare for All, which I have because I'm old. Medicare for All is so simple that even he could understand it.
Yeah, but the opposite.
It's so, you take your card, you go to them, and they take care of you.
But it's run by the government.
That's magic.
It was worth getting old for.
That's what Trump thought the whole healthcare system was.
No, I mean, it's called single payer, I believe.
It's run by the government. That's the issue.
Well,
People who don't want things run by the government because they feel that the government is a giant bureaucracy that doesn't run things.
Yeah, but this one's working. If it's working, why not use it?
They don't want the government to be, because they're concerned about the government the same way the government sometimes picks winners and losers, they're afraid. Remember when you had all that talk of death panels that potentially you'll have government deciding?
That was fake and made up. Nobody was talking about death panels.
A lot of people were,
No one ever talked about death panels. That was a made up. That was a made up booga booga man thing to scare people with.
If they take away Obamacare from a lot of these people, you're really going to see some death panels.
Well, there are things to fix in it, though, because one of the things I know is it's hitting a group of young people that are healthy, that don't really make a lot, that are getting pushed with premiums they can't afford, or they're penalized if they don't opt in.
That's the insurance companies that are doing that, though. The insurance companies.
But they need to fix it. I see their glitches.
But they will not, because a lot of the folks that he is dealing with have large financial stakes in these insurance companies.
That's where the pressure should be on those companies.
And Jed, you mentioned that I know that people on the right don't want the Affordable Care Act because they don't want the government involved.
They also don't like the cost.
But what about, who are we going to leave it to? Are we going to leave it to the insurance company? Then you're going to see the premiums go sky high.
The only Republican I see that's come out with an alternative plan so far has been Rand Paul. I have it in front of me. It calls for individual tax credits up to $5,000. It calls for allowing Americans to put $5,000 a year into health savings accounts, purchasing insurance across state lines.
Where's the money? All I'm saying is,
and then insurance companies set the rate. All I'm saying is that it's the only Republican that has come out with an alternative plan. It's worth looking at. I think it's irresponsible to suggest repealing and replacing a plan without providing an alternative.
The Republican Party will not even raise taxes on the very rich, 1/10 of 1% to pay for this. They won't even do that.
High taxes are on the very rich already. They're paying more than half of it.
He hasn't paid any tax. He hasn't paid. You know what? There are a big old hole there. Now, he said it. He said how proud he was, how smart he was. Well, this is how smart you are. When everybody's not paying their fair share, it's wrong.
Yeah.
Because if Jane Poogie, who makes very little, has to pay her fair share, he should have to. The President of the United States of America should be paying his fair share.
Why do you think that people who voted for him are not totally ticked off at the points that you just made?
That he has to pay taxes.
They don't believe it. They say
he used a legal mechanism to...
Yes, a legal mechanism that was put together so that the very rich... We'll be right back.
True. And it is so. Next, political commentator Tara Setmeyer hits the Hot Topics table.
When everyone started binge watching shows, we didn't want to miss an episode.
Hopefully, we can watch the whole season tonight.
You'll be making the wrong Oscar call if you don't view your deal. We partnered with vendors for at least half off stuff that'll give you Oscar glam. So get to viewyourdeal.com now.
In Hot Topics is a woman who President Bannon calls part of the opposition party. And you know who thinks is one of the enemies of the people. Please welcome political commentator Tara Setmeyer. So the new guy will be making his first speech tonight in front of Congress. What should we... What do you think is going to happen?
Who the hell knows? Every day I think that's part of the allure of the Trump presidency and the candidacy is that so many people tune in to go like, what is he going to say now? Except that now it actually has consequences that before when it was something that was just kind of, oh, let's tune in and see what he does, it literally has real world consequences now for every single one of us. Now, I worked on Capitol Hill for 7 years as a communications director. The State of the Union, tonight's not officially called the State of the Union because he hasn't been there long enough.
Let's not even call it that.
It's a joint session, but it's treated similarly. And so I've suffered through 7 of these things. But it's an exciting time on Capitol Hill usually because you get to hear the president address the country and the Congress and set his agenda. Now, Trump is pretty much probably going to spend time talking about himself because that's what he does. Even though he has advisors that I'm sure are telling him, you have to lay out your agenda. I mean, I know that, you know, friends, I know. They're like, please, just read what we read. Just read what we wrote. It's right there. Please just read it. It should be interesting because he's going to point to, this is what I predict, he'll probably point to some of what he considers achievements in the last couple of weeks. He's going to reiterate campaign promises. I don't think you're going to see anything different than what we've seen thus far. He is who he is.
Do you think the Democrats are going to, you know, react in some weird way like the Republicans did to Obama at the State of the Union? Yelling at you lie or anything like that?
The Joe Wilson moment, I remember that.
That's why we're sending you, Joy. I could go.
Listen, there's people that sit up in the gallery, right? You can sit up in the gallery, and every member of Congress has tickets. They can bring guests there, and that's usually part of the pomp and circumstance. I hope that decorum holds, because call me a fuddy-duddy on that, but I still respect the institutions and the grandeur of our political system in Washington, and like I just don't want it to devolve any further. Trump has set such an awful precedent with his behavior. I just hope that our members of Congress don't.
Why is it always we have to have decorum when the Republicans are in office, and when the Democrats are in office? There's no decorum. Why is that?
You know, you don't want two wrongs don't make a right.
Look for two words tonight. Look for the two words infrastructure spending. That's going to be his outreach to the left. He's going to make it talk about building roads and bridges. I think he's going to try to appeal to the right and to the center. I think you're going to see hikes in defense spending suggested. He's saying 10%. That will appeal to the right. I think he's going to talk infrastructure spending.
And also, just one more thing. Let me get to the jet. Let me do this. His inaugural speech was very dark. You think the tone is going to be lighter?
No. I don't think lighter. It's kind of like lighter. It's like asking Darth Vader to be lighter. I guess it's relative, you know? Lighter.
It is relative. But don't you think what's interesting to me are the guests that he's bringing? And I think that's sort of dog whistle politics in a sense, because he's invited 3 relatives of victims of...
Please explain dog whistle politics. I missed it.
You know, dog whistle is like, you know, you can't hear it, but only a dog can hear it. So people that are listening for it can hear it, but everyone else can't hear it. And so the optics are he's inviting people, victims of crimes committed by undocumented immigrants, to address Congress. And the dog whistle there is, oh my goodness, undocumented immigrants commit so much crime. But if you look at the stats, people, and I really hope people do, studies show that for the most part, people who migrate are a self-selecting group, and found, the American Immigration Council found that 1.6% of immigrant males were incarcerated as opposed to the larger population.
Democrats push back on that a little bit. I know one of the guests that's coming there tonight. His name is Jamil Shaw, and he's an African-American man from L.A. who lost his son, who was a football star on his way to college, that was shot in the head walking down the street in front of his house by an illegal alien gang member who had been released from prison early in Los Angeles.
I don't think anyone's illegal. I think they're
No, he was illegal. He was in this country illegally, committed crimes.
He was be illegal.
Well, we have rule of law in this country, and sovereignty in the United States is important, and you need to be able to know who's here and who isn't, and have a set of rules. That's what sovereignty is. I understand that emotionally it's hard for people to hear that, but tell that to Jamil Shaw, whose son was shot in the head and lost his life as a result of a failure of our system.
Wait a second. What you're describing is what they use a lot, is anecdotal evidence.
No, but it's real. I worked on this issue in Congress for 7 years, and I've worked with Border Patrol agents and things like that.
Yeah, so young white males then, so young white males who historically have committed most of the gun violence, most of the mass shootings, maybe they shouldn't be allowed to be in society.
I don't think anyone disagrees. We've all spoken about the extreme felons and people. That part, I think anyone could get on board.
But the difference is that these are people we can control being here or not, and so I think that's the difference.
Just push this in here, just so you have it. He's bringing 3 family members of people killed by undocumented immigrants to the speech. Several studies show that immigrants are much less likely to commit crimes than those born in the U.S. And undocumented immigrants, and this is important, had an incarceration rate of 1.7% compared with 10.7% for native-born men. And only 5% of inmates in the state and federal prisons are non-citizens. But he's also had a very hostile relationship with the media. And a recent interview told Breitbart that the intent of the New York Times is negative coverage of him, and it's so bad and so evil and so bad that they just write lies.
Just like when Donald Trump decided to create his own persona as John Barron and John Miller to call the tabloids here in New York City and plant stories about his life in the tabloids and make things up. I mean, this is the pot calling the kettle black, literally. We're talking about someone who lies constantly with reckless abandon, and then she's gonna turn around and demonize the Fourth Estate, which is here to be the buffer and hold the government accountable. So it's a tactic. We have to pay attention to what he's doing. This is all to discredit the apparatus that our founding fathers set up that felt it was so important they put it in the Constitution as, you know, the First Amendment to hold them accountable, you know? So it's a tactic for him, so we don't see what he's really doing over here.
Don't you think the better strategy would be to just acknowledge, say, you know what, there's media bias. I get the New York Times is after me. That's fine. That's okay. But you know what? I'm not worried about that. Pick on me if you want. I'm going to stick to my agenda. I'm here to create jobs for the American people. I'm here to establish border security. I'm not worried about them. And to laugh it off.
We're talking about a rational human being.
Right. That's how you win.
Who is that?
Absolutely. Well, that's how you win, and you look big, and then you make the New York Times look small. Right now, what he's doing is making himself look small, and the New York Times look big.
Subscribers are increasing.
Wait, don't tell him he's look small. You know how he feels about it.
But I mean, as a populist, you'd think
That's the problem.
As a populist, you'd think he'd be about, like, building bridges rather than walls, because you think about the fact that he'd want to recruit more support. I mean, it seems so simple, but I don't know how he's missing this.
You attribute all of these very lofty, intelligent thoughts to him as if he's actually thinking about that.
Dude, this is right.
I mean, he can't.
Look, this is the problem. This is the problem.
Seriously.
He cares so much about popularity, and if you are so concerned with being liked, wouldn't he spend just an iota of time on trying to recruit people that aren't just the ones already cheering?
But then why are Republicans supporting him?
Doing what he's doing.
Why are Republicans supporting him then?
Well, as a lifelong conservative
that's
who has watched this process with horror, watching what my party has done by compromising in areas and compromising principle and integrity and common decency for political expediency has been really disheartening for me. But I feel as though in a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act, and it takes people like us to be part of that revolution and hold them accountable, including my fellow Republicans.
Republicans are not holding him accountable.
They will. They watch those poll numbers start to go like this, and they eventually will.
Well, he's very unpopular.
But Republicans, they answer, these elected officials answer to me and you. They are elected, so they're going to have to be held accountable.
And do not allow them to duck out, you guys, when you go to talk to them at these town halls. Call them, email them. Tell them, remind them that you put them where they are. They have to answer to you, because without you, they don't have a position. Thank you, Tara.
Thank you, Tara.
Come back. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Today is Fat Tuesday, or as I call it, Tuesday. Every Tuesday is Fat Tuesday for me, baby. You know, it's the first day before Lent, where many Catholics give up something until Easter. One woman wrote an op-ed about giving up pizza and pasta for Lent. So she could get... Wait. It had nothing to do with the Lord, okay? She was doing this so she could get her body ready for summer. So is she kind of missing the point here?
I think so.
Well, it depends on how often she eats it, because isn't the point that each time you reach for this thing that you think of your
I haven't been practicing for a while, so I don't know.
I mean,
I don't recall.
if she's an avid pasta eater, that's a lot of Jesus in your life.
Well, yeah, it's 40 days, and you're sort of remembering...
It's actually 44.
Really?
Yeah.
I always learned it was 40.
No, it's 44.
You've been cheating this whole time.
I've been cheating this whole time. But you're sort of, you know, I think mirroring a lot of the sacrifices that Jesus made for all of us. And I always give up something.
By giving up pizza?
Well, I'm giving up.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
Did Jesus really love pizza that much?
Are you giving up veggie patties?
I know, the veggie patties. Well, my friends and I are on a chain, and we're like, what are you giving up? What are you giving up? I'm going to give up processed foods, sugar, bread pasta.
You don't even eat that.
How many things are you giving
bread
up?
Pasta and rice. And I was going to give...
You're not eating anything.
I was going to give up wine, but my friends convinced me not to, because Jesus drank wine, so I shouldn't give that up.
I love a justifying friend.
That's what my friend Regina said. She said, I don't need to give that up.
Jesus ate pasta or pizza or any of these things, and I think he had other things
bread,
on
and so does Oprah.
Well, He ate what?
Bread.
Unleavened bread, babe. He didn't eat bread.
I think
ate unleavened
didn't he eat
bread.
falafel and hummus? Let's get real.
Yes, if you're being
Well, sometimes,
accurate.
but he did not eat meat. He wasn't necessarily a meat eater. He ate what was available. But, I mean, if this is about Jesus, isn't it better to sort of give up being judgmental?
Well, that's what my. It's absolutely
I
true.
don't mean that.
Yes.
But
No, it's absolutely true.
giving up food doesn't seem like the thing that Jesus would really be impressed with.
That's definitely the new teaching. I think Father Beck, who I love, says that you should do something either positive for other people or give up of something like that, being hateful or having hateful thoughts or
being jealous or
give up being having hateful thoughts. Times are too strange to give up.
Oh, they're telling me in my ear it's 46 days.
Yeah, I knew it was more than
That's
because
46 days.
it ends on the
Easter.
no,
Ash
it doesn't.
starts Ash Wednesday.
No,
Just kidding, I'm
it
guessing.
ends that Thursday. It's the Thursday before because Ash Wednesday
Monday,
was
Thursday.
So I have 6 more days.
Sunday school paid off.
Yeah.
So, but what I love
Thursday.
about your story is like you all got together like a little girl squad and figured out.
We
Is that
totally
a yearly
figure out.
thing?
Well,
Is this a
plus we all
ritual?
we travel together. So if I'm giving up wine and no one else is, then
that's
it's the
inconvenient.
near temptation of sin.
That's the
You're temptation.
Are you back with this near temptation of sin?
it applies
No
to
bueno,
men.
Sonny. No bueno.
Well, you know what? Yeah, you just remember who Jesus hung out with, and what Jesus didn't do, and all the things that Jesus would not be really cool with.
Right.
And try to live that life. I mean, that's
a lot.
well. Why?
There's
Why?
a lot of things Jesus doesn't do that I do.
Like what?
Like what?
Not things for daytime TV. No, I'm just kidding.
But the bottom line is
leaves a little mystery about that.
I don't even know where we're going right now. But the whole camera just went. We'll be right back.
In just 6 days.
Did you say we have the photo? Okay, so this is how we feel about Sunny. This is how we feel Sunny look today. Look. She just looks really happy, really cute in her polka dot. That's Amy Grant.
It's very Mad Men, right? I
love
saw
it.
it this
Or
morning
Amy
and I
Grant.
just liked it.
Yeah.
Or Amy Grant.
Very, I say it's more Amy Grant. Very cute, because you're very demure today.
I am.
I'm seeing spots in my eyes. And it's your dress.
You thought it was your leg
You know what's
earlier.
funny? I have floaters.
Yeah.
Everybody have floaters.
I got
And every
floaters.
time I look at her dress, I'm like,
Yeah, it makes it goes like this. It's crazy. So here's the question. Is it ever okay to lie to your partner or the people you work with about what they're wearing? No. Or a relationship counselor posted things that she claims you can bend the truth about, like splurging on something, liking your partner's friends, your sexual past relationships. Would you keep that stuff from a
I
partner?
would never lie. I never lie. And I'll tell you why. Because even if you lie over something small, it comes out, and then what's remembered is not what you lied about. Maybe they wouldn't have cared about that, but the fact that you're a liar. And then they say, if you lied about that, what else did you lie about?
Opens it up.
I disagree. I disagree purely because I think there are some unavoidables. Once you're married and you're with them, you have family that you just welcomed into your life. Your life got fuller. And sometimes you have feelings that aren't as communal. And I think there's no point in sharing some of those feelings.
The non-communal feelings.
Yeah, or communal. Could be friends, whatever
brothers,
their
whatever.
life
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
They're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So unless it were an issue you needed to deal with at that moment, I think it's better to just say, I love them. All of them.
I don't know if that, I don't know.
Do you say it like that? Do you say it like that?
Perhaps.
That's very convincing.
Perhaps.
Very convincing.
Perhaps that is too much of a lie.
Well, you don't have
Perhaps
to go
saying
with
you
the other.
love them might be too much.
I enjoy
Perhaps
them.
what you want to say is, yes, okay, they're coming great.
They're lovely.
What else do you want for dinner?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And leave it like that.
Well, what about this one? You lie about him being right. To avoid a fight, simply tell your partner that you agree.
Oh,
I'm not
no.
doing that.
I can't do that.
Yeah, but
Joy, I don't think you'd admit it even if he was right.
Of
No,
that.
if he's right, he's right. If he's wrong, I'm not going to say he's right.
Has he ever been right, though? Maybe like once?
Rarely, but whatever.
But it's like saying,
her.
But I don't know.
He was right about that. He married her.
Oh, okay. He was
so
right
that's
there.
the one time she's talking about.
Why not? I mean, it's almost like saying sorry when you don't really think you did anything wrong. Like, you know, you're sorry because you may have offended someone or hurt their feelings, so you say it even though you're not really
people
sorry.
know that you're not really sorry because people people lie so you know they're lying. They say, yeah, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
And you know that they're just kind of going like this to you.
Yeah.
That's not good. I don't think you should.
They also say, I'm sorry if that upset you. That's
what lawyers do. My husband does it. I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah. Yes. That doesn't mean they're really sorry.
Yeah.
No. But no, they're not
But I feel that way.
But you knew I felt like that, and you said it
That's
anyway.
a lawyer thing. It's language.
It is that.
It's language. It's semantics.
It's semantics, and it's
Sonny,
it's
I
not
don't feel
right.
sorry for
Tell
you.
the
It's
truth.
not-
It works, though.
Don't do it.
No,
Don't
it
do
doesn't work.
I'm on the
Sometimes
receiving
They know. They know.
No bueno, Sonny. No bueno.
we're also trying to teach Sarah Spanish. We'll be right back.
The View would like to thank Apple and Eve for providing our entire studio audience with a bottle of their delicious juice.
And it occurred to me because, you know, when you're an Oscar voter, you get to vote for 10 films, but only 5 acting positions. And I just think that what they should do is balance everything out. Increase it so you have 10 actors and 10 films and 10 directors and go from there. And they were trying to figure out all this stuff, and they tried to politicize and say it was political. I don't think anybody was political.
What was political?
They were saying, first Trump, he didn't watch. Because he was parroting some stuff he saw
I
on
thought
Fox.
it was mild, because, I don't like that stuff when it gets too political, but I think when you keep it funny, it's okay. Nothing felt like it was a lecture
funny.
Jim, I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
It
And
didn't bother me.
you know what I liked? He was relaxed. It was like, whatever. If it's not great, who cares?
Right.
I love that about him.
Anyway.
And you know what?
Yes.
Warren, you did what you needed to do. We applaud you. We applaud you also, audience. Have a great day, and take a little time to enjoy the view.